but it's beautiful when the linkages are made. And I appreciate that for the elders very, very deeply this African Heritage Month and every month. Always I have to get that across and make sure that more young people have a chance to experience elders and experience that wisdom. Because if all they're just being taught is just to give back in what's in history books and class that they fall asleep in, that is not just his story, then there's a lot of work for us to do. Like what Sun Ra would say, history is his story, it's not my story. So let's tell our story. And to begin us off on our story tonight, I want to invite Carlos Troche, who wants to begin with us tonight.
I'll be second.
You'll be second? Okay. David, are you ready for us?
Just about.
Just about, okay.
Okay, I'll say something.
You got his spyglasses on, make sure. Oh, he got it written real deep. All right, David.
Just to deal with this, and I just wanted to say that I want to greet everybody, whole chap, and I want to talk about all the beautiful things, and like he says that it's not only the aspects of what we see, like Rumi said, a poet of 1,000 years ago, which said, a lot of them don't see what is written in the wall. Because we know that when you become unnatural and not analyze the spiritual aspects of yourself and in tune to the universal order, you become what they call a rock. And this is what we're seeing here. We're seeing it is written in the wall, which scares some people. Like it said, "Are you a poet?" Somebody asked me. Well, I'm a culture worker. I try to share my words with love and spirituality to the people. But to them, it scares them. You see, because they claim that they are materialists. They claim that spirituality doesn't exist because they never seen it. But we know better from our spiritual self and from the feelings that we have as a person that something does not come from nothing. There's always something that brings us together, and that's spiritual understanding. We have many different names to it, to our Supreme Being, and to, for the very essence of life. Some of us worship a black rock. Some of us don't. Some of us worship just the nature of the unity of the universe. But we have to see this and understand that, because we are living in a world now that is written in the wall that they are about to fall. And what does Sky Stone say? There's a giant is about to fall, and there's a midget is about to tell them what it is. So when we look at this, we see that you could be powerful, you could have all these tanks and guns and money. But the money doesn't make you happy. Is that love inside of you? When you could say that spirituality, that fellowship, that poem, like it says, the bread is rising. To me, it means that we're sharing our poetry in fellowship and sisterhood. Because we come from that. We don't come from no damn rock or no cave. We're from nature. So that's what I want to share this in our anniversary of our our road to 16 years of teaching peace and love.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, David.
Okay. I got something here that I call the wisdom of the Venusians. Yes. On the second planet from the sun, there dwelt the Venusians, a proud species, a strong species, an entrepreneurial species, an aggressive species. But they found that nuclear warfare was time-consuming and wasteful, and so sued each other for peace. Then followed a period of outrageous prosperity. Nuclear waste, I apologize. Oh, the nuclear waste cartel spread throughout the entire planet. They loved the way it made them glow in the dark. Besides, they didn't need hair anyway. They prayed at the church of the COFF, that is, the Church of Fossil Fuels. Yes. After 2 years of superabundance, every living creature on the planet died. Out in space, astronomers on the third planet from the sun peered through their telescopes, shook their heads and said, when they were looking at Venus, they said it was too bad. But of course this could never happen here. Thank you.
David, I say science fiction.
I love science fiction, I love it.
You do it, Rosa.
You got it on the spot.
I may read one poem from it. To the People's Cafe, Carlos and Troche, and great new large art, new style, poetry arte, and this is some poems that I have a list of, sort of like a series. The Negro speaks of rivers and use, I know not of minds, I know not about love, a black Jew, white Jew, Petri, Beach with Estudiantes, El Grito de Lares, and Black History among the poems. Let me see which I'm going to read. Lares, European history, Shakespearean verses, as philosophical Gritos de Lares, Easter to come, the winds of time and past. European history and Shakespearean verses, global trends with Revolution, the tragic Hamlet or Macbeth's characterizations in my fingers, history definition mapas, the Russia or China or India, African colonial traits, the Moor or the ruthless sword. European history, Shakespearean verses as philosophy, social science bleeds, and Grito de Lares in the winds of time. European history, Shakespearean verses, the Moor or kingship, characterization in my fingers, Puerto Rican independencia, freedom or Nuyorican cafes, the tribes, fortalezas and bronze brands, and the Loisaida of history, birth in Grito de Lares. Thank you. Let's see if we have one more.
You gonna read something, Andrew?
Yep.
Go ahead, brother. I'm gonna go on.
Reference to Langston Hughes, the Negro speaks of rivers, my own version. I've seen the rivers, I've known the rivers, the seas in ancient time. I've seen rivers with, like my soul like Mississippi as far as Congo or Aphrodites, Euphrates, like rivers, coconuts, and trees with wonders of youth and rest and sleep. I've wandered in the sands or in old pyramids and now in ancient times and rivers of birth, the Mississippi of blues in New Orleans or muddy shores and golden sun. I've known rivers and my soul is full of songs. Gracias, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. All right, thank you. Thank you. That's a new piece, Rosa?
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. That's great.
Yeah,
One piece I was appreciative of Rocha, I'm sure I'll hear it in the future, is when he wrote it in When I Die a few years back. That was
I will die, I will live.
Okay.
Manifesto.
Can't wait to hear that again.
This is for Shem here.
I was reminded again by reading her work how Sister Anna Julia Cooper had passed 46 years ago this month and left behind such a rich heritage as one of the great educational philosophers of the world. And I call attention, just starting for the